This is the Pentax K-01, the company's somewhat enigmatic mirrorless interchangeable lens camera. It has a distinctive aesthetic that I think most people will either love or hate. And as a camera, it inspires some ambivalence as well. However you feel about its looks, the design works overall and has a few, let's call them quirks. It's big. There's no getting around that since it needs to have a long flange focus distance in order to work with standard K-mount lenses. And it's surprisingly heavy given all the empty space between the lens and the sensor. Also, given the size, the grip could stand to be a little deeper. But it's covered with a ridged, rubberized material that helps, and the rest of the controls are big and mostly easy to identify and access. Despite its modernist design, the K-01 actually has a pretty typical control layout. The real problem is this floppy rubber cover. It's very difficult to close, and it requires two hands to do it. To compensate, Pentax added a separate plastic cover for the SD card slot. That said, at least the card slot is on the side of the camera instead of inside the battery compartment. A few of the K-01's features stand out. In addition to an intervalometer mode, the camera also has an interval movie mode, which does the same thing but can shoot for up to 99 hours and automatically saves the final file as an AVI movie. The handful of shooting special effects are nothing special, but you can adjust a variety of parameters for each. And it also offers a 3-shot automatic HDR mode with a range of up to 3 stops. But the K-01 has possibly the best mid-range noise profile I've seen in a camera under $1,000. The Sony sensor produces extremely fine-grained noise, and Pentax's uncommonly intelligent JPEG processing results in generally clean images as high as ISO 800, and extremely usable ones through ISO 3200. By other measures, the photo quality rates is excellent for its class as well. Though the default color setting pushes the saturation and contrast until blues and purples shift surreally, with the natural custom image preset, the colors look neutral and accurate with no loss of saturation or even flat-looking contrast. The video quality is a mixed bag though. On one hand, it's bright, saturated, and sharp in good light, but there's also quite a bit of rolling shutter and some haloing on edges. Low-light video is also soft and noisy. The 40mm kit lens is quite sharp, and the photos come out sharp without looking overprocessed and without distortion. But it's unsuited to autofocus during video. It operates noisily, and I found the AF completely inconsistent and unreliable. However, the manual focus ring works very well for video. It's servo-electronic, so it operates quietly and smoothly. But the autofocus system was generally disappointing, along with the shooting performance. It's the slowest camera in its class. The kit lens is especially infuriating. It's a prime, yet it hunts for focus as if it's a zoom. After every shot, it resets, so when you're taking multiple shots of a stationary subject, it iteratively refocuses every time. The more I use cameras like this, the more I wish that at least the expensive ones had an articulated LCD. This model, which is relatively large, should also at least have the option of an EVF. The LCD is big and bright, but really difficult to use in bright sunlight. The only saving grace is the camera's peaking feature. It's a camcorder carryover that highlights edges during focusing, which we're seeing a lot more frequently these days on cameras. And that's the only thing that makes it possible to ascertain if the scene is framed correctly and in focus when shooting outdoors and off angle. If you've got a stable of Pentax lenses, especially good ones that can properly resolve to the sensor, and you feel like doing some creative shooting, especially with manual focus, then the K-01's a great choice. But if you're looking for an all-purpose ILC under $1,000, you may get frustrated with the K-01's slow performance and large, quirky design, and it's probably worth trading off a little on the photo quality for a better all-around camera, and likely a less expensive one. I'm Lori Grunin, and this is the Pentax K-01.